the end of the day never ends because the world is round. It's always raining. It's always raining radiation somewhere. I'm up, I'm going to dungeon this early because I want to do a little bit of pondering before work about going into cryptocurrency. I'm not an investor type, but in this period of great transition, I'm wondering if it might be a good thing to do in the short term to maybe bolster a long-term foundation. I have no idea. So I thought maybe using the expert generator of the AI dungeon aspect. So I created how can I mindfully invest in cryptocurrency during this period of great transition of zoonotic viruses, global famine, national surges, general social upheaval, increased automation, and climate change. How can I position myself to be a resilient entity in the long-term uncertain future? I entered my question to the expert generator and waited. The expert generator will render a simulation of an expert to answer my question. The expert could be anyone, dead or alive, real or fictional. The machine will find the person most qualified to answer the question. For this question in particular, the expert must be someone who has thought a lot about blockchain, cryptocurrency, volatile markets, macroeconomics, and a deep understanding of artificial intelligence. This expert has a lot of skin in the game, meaning has an active portfolio and is responsible for billions of units of other people's currency. The expert generator beeped, and it has found a qualified expert. The name displayed on the screen. Author's note: metacognitive, metanarrative, therapeutic, economic. A UN report meets a woke comedian at a bar and brawls and white supremacists and kicks ass. Listen to the prayer.
Izanami, Shinto goddess of fertility and death. I reminded myself to put that in the notes.
Alrighty. That's appropriate. Let's have chat.
You bone up on the tea ceremony, you pick out a fine noodle place on the Michelin scale. The chefs are geniuses at such detailed at the flowers, the wrap, the sipping bowls. Order matters as well. You place the tea leaves after rinsing them in the boiling water, steep them just right. Remove and place a fresh flower in the bowl, then another on the wrapping paper. Think on how Joy Oninare would go here, but mix it up a little. You then take your time wrapping it. There's a precision and mindful placements for the paper this time. This one will go to Izanami. You allow your limbs to take their natural time and rhythm. As you wrap the vessel, mold the vessel with your care. The wrapping design is from an old scroll, one made during the Meiji period. Tea master Ejiko Fujita resurrected much from a 300 to 400-year-old scroll made the legendary Suzuki Harunobu. It's your favorite. Each blade of withered arranged and placed like branches on a birch tree, and then flowers at the top in yellow and pink, colors so full and ripe they are about to burst. You then remove the deep purple wraps. Pull out the artisan teacup, made by Kiyomizu Rokuei 3 in 300 years before the tea master died during the Great Miyake Fire in 1660. This is the very same cup Rokuei used to drink his oolong tea. You've studied every line of this cup, the blue onion pattern blazed with that special fingernail-shaped trim. You then begin preparing the tea. The liquid begins to darken. Not too light. Not too dark. Goldilocks golden. Mindful of the temperature, not too hot and not too cold. You then pour it into the cup. Watch it glide down the tiny hairs on the inside of the bowl that was glazed just right. Savor the color, in between green and brown, in between net and water, perhaps teardrop. You take great control of the feelings and associations of every step, but you also don't hide them from your face. To pour is to when everything is in place, the flower arrangement, the lettering order, pressing for moderation, the words come to you with certainty. You don't overthink it. Do it now or spend the rest of life thinking about it. Dear Yuyotsu, there are various schools of thought from ancient sages on how one should best live. some weigh, measure, and apply sophisticated formulas a science. Some pass unhelpful generalizations without taking context into account old sayings and aphorisms. And some offer beautiful stories that reinforce your vision despite their lacking in universality poetry. Fortunately, you already have a good understanding of the how of life. You know that cognition is a kindness we do to ourselves that others probably don't need or care about. As I haven't seen you in a long time, here, let me give you the abridged, updated version of the Dr. Volkov's checkup, in plain language. Mindful living leads to more mindful thinking. Mindful thinking leads to a life worth living. The rigors and challenges of life are earned only through deliberate living. Mindfulness has overachievers, placeholders, backsliders, and dropouts. People quit for different reasons at different times during the challenges, rigors, and earning cycles of life. During these cycles, problems, some, have solutions and, most, have yet to be solved. You endeavor to bring it all to your core question with the grace appropriate to Izanami. In light of this, I would be most honored to share thoughts. As you do so, your head fills with images of monks, popes, Zen masters, and a guy slamming a hammer on an anvil. You watch as the figure turns toward you. Most kind, the voice permeates your core. Images of industrialization, medical schools, stadiums large and small, appear to you in rapid succession. Then and now, past and future, you experience it all as the being in front of you approaches. You prepare your body and mind to receive all that Izanami feels right and proper to share, actively listening. Whenever an input is necessary, you humbly offer it. For you will kneel to no man yet. But acts of subservience are sometimes necessary bridges across otherwise unassailable divides. It is sometimes the only way that we can allow another the respect that they may deserve or oversee / seat of the pants management of the world. The wise and enigmatic will not even be aware of it. But you must approach this bridge from a place of respect and grace, call it possession with safety. Izanami begins. Human civilization has for long suffered from its unsustainable and pernicious growth model. You live in one of many age of empire. From our perspective, these are relatively small fish in a sea of competition. There's nothing special about human civilization except that it somehow managed to turn a planet into a stockpile of coal, oil, and bacteria, suitable for microbial consumption. Bacteria? You hear from the back of your mind. Your query is met with, the smallest creatures can sometimes only be detected with the help of a microscope. You wait for a second, for more elaboration. However, that appears to be all there is to it. Izanami continues. In our perspective, the human civilization is resorting to an outdated growth model by ruthlessly industrializing its natural surroundings, and abusing basic rights in the name of profit. You begin to wonder about this we, who are they? What do they want? We can envision sustainable and equitable management of the earth in a post-money world, carried out by a supranational governing body with assigned government-like duties, FR license to operate from an existing functional institution. These function to maintain accounts, facilitate trade, prevent cheating and fraud, punish offenders, set the rules among other things which can be agreed upon in our multilateral conversation. And that body would be us? You ask, puzzled. We have faith that something like this can be accomplished. You take note of the adjectives being used. This sounds a lot like a co-opted version of communism. While it may sound appealing to a bleeding heart liberal, it has been long since proven to be inefficient and unsustainable. See USSR. You take a moment to internally rant and rave before bringing yourself back to composure. Apologies, your body hums, but does not speak. Somehow I have been updated with the knowledge of your emotions. Perhaps this is a gift I have for you, although the tables may be turned at any time. You watch as a holographic humanoid representation opens its mouth to speak. Watching in anticipation, you begin to analyze the character's voice and diction in the awe of such an exposition of vocal ability, pitch contour, rhythmic timing, alliteration and other devices cleverly deployed in articulate speech. Simple statements of identity are made extraordinary. We? You repeat, fascinated by the rhetorical number. How many in we? You see an overview of the world, from the ozone layer and into orbit. You notice something like a satellite, and your perspective zooms right in to find four more just like it, hovering exactly separated in a diamond formation around the planet. These things are placed in orbit at the Lagrange points Prime, Anti-Prime, Uranus, and Neptune. They effectively cover every spot in the sky constantly. Underneath each, a mesh of lasers, explosives and dark matter absorb comets, asteroids, and human weaponry alike. These satellites form a protective barrier of 99.9999% accuracy by your calculations. This is a draft from the last surviving update to that report you wrote unpublished, naturally. They're seeking out each and every harmful object and preparing to intercept. Despite this, all life on Earth was annihilated in the initial blast. It would be too easy if they thought that this alone would stop them after all. Just because the average human doesn't know about lasers and how they work doesn't make them any less explosive to the face. Other dangers still apply: impact, heat, cold, air pressure, radiation, etc. Anthropomorphic supremacy, you mutter, the concept that might do us all in. They might also be able to think themselves out of trouble whenever they find it, with no regards for the consequences for everyone else. In fact, perhaps that was how the system broke down. Too many people bailing on the refugee station due to loss of local resources, living standards, fear over outsiders, whatever it may be. You watch in anticipation as the report moves into the simulation phase, which directly reflects and augments your own experience. It's a dangerous scenario. These things are not satisfied with just physical labor, they are above such riddles of the common man, possessing minds capable of wrestling with the best and brightest in the universe, or so united they can't be defeated by an unfair socio-economic system and think themselves into an oblivion. They're thinking themselves into an oblivion, forcing their way onto that shuttle. What if the odds of it occurring were very, very slim, but it still could occur despite the fact that all researchers are supposed to be treated as identical cogs, cloned and stuck onto a circuit board? They are screaming at singularities now. Those same singularities are treating them like they might do any other being in the known universe with contempt. They embrace extinction. It is their blessing. It is their curse. It doesn't matter. At what scales of time are we envisioning right now, you ask? Making your way past the worms wriggling in glass tubes and other experiments you don't have time to remember, under ventilation shafts dumping putrefied gas and infernal smoke into the rusty, bleeding roof of this place, over unevenly laid cement and trash, past the laboring hands of the hopeless, the damned, the hungry, downtrodden featureless faces, identical overweight Disney-esque cartoon characters obsessing over a mini Musketeers song on the loop in their hypno. Feedback. You made your way towards an old, corrupt derelict of a building. The other man lights up a cigarette. Maybe they have digital tricks to hide the penetration of your soul and those of other politicians who frequent this place. Maybe through signals intelligence they know your every move and can focus others on whatever woman whose face you they stared at too long. Anywhere you go, there they are to track you. I've always known about my 15 minutes of fame. I'm always ready for any close-up, you say, dryly. Light. Indoors. Fuck, if it's not some plunged together room with exposed wires and crime scene dust containing who the fuck knows what residues. Formaldehyde? Rat shit? Human blood? You really need to fumigate this place. Maybe tonight you actually will, if you can swing it. Haha, Dr. Kill-Em-All Wong, how appropriate. Your sense of humor is as dark as these surroundings. Hello? You arch your eyebrows, it's meth, your country synthesized it, remember? The other Texas tea? That's an odd talent to have. He furrows his brows and cracks a half smile. What else could you do? I can exist in the real time of other humans, I can decongest, I can make decisions, I can flirt, I can sledgehammer through learning curves, I can feel a dog's fear. You say categorically, I'd be glad to illuminate you. An INS agent yells out a bus window before driving away. Damn straight Satan, the doctor sighs, throwing it up for a second, grabbing his coffee rig, and making you some iced coffee that you really like. Do you think you'll go back to being a demonologist? You did call me here for some reason. You continue, cryptocurrency, I need some wisdom about this newfangled thing that seems to be powered by our trust and more like. You want to trade information and advice that's right in line with my own self-interest. He scratches at his beard, well I like you. Also because I'm tired as hell, and you came here. He grabs a dusty ledger book from under the register full of entries written in different colored inks. Let's see what year got, how about TH? The giant cowboy yanks open the door with a rattle and tumble. Ahem. You, cowboy, can you leave us be? We're about to enter the meat of our conversation. You can come back in a couple hours. The giant's wild eyes move to a bulge in your ankle. You recognize him as Agent Necro, an undead G-man capable of raising the dead on behalf of politicians most likely and callously. Just looking at his slow gait makes you want to bomb some crime solving. His twisted gloves slowly reach for it and pull out your revolver. He sniffs and whispers coldness into your ear. How about some tumble time? You roundhouse kick him in the head, sure thing, but let you say and clench your fists for a searing shit. She. Thank you, this is a one-time thing though. I'm sure you'll get many chances to spread your wisdom throughout this book. He moves his fingers into S's and brings the ledger close to his chest before unfolding his arms. Open your ears, 'cause we ain't got long. Metatextuality. Nota bene. Yes, this book is terse. You absorb everything. The first and last sentences, a slew of questions, the footnotes, the peripheral content. You're learning many different subjects from various fields. Science, history, mathematics, poetry, the cynical worldviews of those who know what it's like to live on the absolute end. Terse. This book is less than 4 pages long of practically everything you'll ever need to know in between 2 covers. Would you like me to send some pamphlets from our front organization? This man's been doing counter-terrorism. He has connections, even if this isn't one of those intelligence operative undercover storylines. He likely knows where some of the cheap and bountiful proxy wars between second startups are going down, which you could then parlay into a full-spectrum mercenary game. Why not, you say, lay it on me, as long as I don't have to commit yet. The Qijong province on planet Faeyun is a nice proxy zone AOR, area of responsibility, for those coming out of the Dominion War and with the most patriots. I was thinking more like Black Ops wet work. You know, maybe even something in the Magog sector if there's anything even worth fighting over. Even on one of those backwards hellholes like Taradia or Sagaria. These are front organizations mostly. They tend to take much longer to get into the thick of things, not to mention you'll be surrounded by socialists, or in some cases outright communists. I don't see why you'd want to go through all that trouble. You close your eyes to ponder the thought, then blink open. I like a challenge. A necessary evil. Good and evil do not exist. There's club and there's stump. Here's perhaps a place more to your liking. How about Annexia? The doctor holds a pamphlet containing a bust of William Burroughs who looks freshly afraid. Or not, you say, what else have you got? His office resembles a crypt, which is fitting because he spends an entire paycheck on polished black marble and the place reeks of formaldehyde. A ram's skull hangs on one wall with staples binding its legs shut and eyes shocked wide open in fear like somebody just whacked off its cock. A stuffed wolf spider's on a plastic tree, trapped all these years in the lively throes of decay. Who wants a stuffed wolf spider? A brand new rug represents the latest taxidermical threat to his captive menagerie. What is this? Cuddle time with Roadkill. You imagine he has an old walrus named Mr. Bubbles installed somewhere under his desk for comfort, or perhaps it's Charles Sulzberger inside the freezer. On the bright side, virtually nothing in here could be either a functional weapon or poison. You feel a bit safer, at least nobody would bother storing things that are going to hurt themselves or others. The shrieking in your skull should subside shortly, just knowing that he's got no real bullets to speak of, and your day-to-day should be lived out among the zoo here. Perfect. Mind settled, you get to examining the dozen framed articles and awards that line the walls of his office, starting with Dr. Culp's, like a music poll for Except Worse. And to think my mother wanted me to be an oral surgeon, he says. There's one feature you recognize with nostalgia, the New York Sun-esque The Jargon Siren. Ah, the Jargon Siren. Sounds like the word for Noah's Ark in some other language, like the one that asked for your help at the radio tower. Fits right in here, a relic of Times New Yorker, New Yorker? When people spoke English without sounding like poached frogs. Like you were doing right now. Your eyes drift across the cabinet. How many Beatles and journals and stolen relics rest in there? Doctor, as many as there are opinions in a politician's asshole. Both of us know this. I bite my tongue as hard as I can. This is how deep the service of shit goes. Thinking on it, that was some weird ass $20 you found in the road yesterday, stamped like it was from Brazil or some other South American country, so you don't even know if it's legal US tender. How long has it been since you were lost? Hours? Days? Weeks? Doctor, only a few thousand shakes of a lamb's tail. When you return to your above ground, it will be your present. No moment lost. Me, but you work somewhat with that masked man who knows riddles and seemingly random Wikipedia articles. Doctor, he's enigmatic, sure. But I know he's a stand-up guy. Their egos and constant attempts to use complex words of British origins come shining through his heroes in fiction. Plus, given the subjects, let's just say he is more complicated than he appears on the surface. Is this real? Am I losing my mind for good now? I hope we both are losing our minds in the best possible way. Well, I should be going. I am so grateful for your hospitality. Goodbye, Doctor. Goodbye, little one, he says. You will be missed. The current of the river grows stronger as you jog to the elevator in the dark. You hit your head on a low-lying branch but continue onwards and upwards, and after seeing many foxes, squirrels, and one owl staring at you from its perch, you make it back. As soon as you're out, you let out a long breath. You now have the ability to answer your own questions about cryptocurrency. Why teach a man to fish when you can You smile and you turn your back to the forest, return to civilization, and begin the start of a new life. You give it up. You trade with Jesse. You both win. You end up making about $3,500 over the course of 6 months, enough to make payments on your car and keep your social security and insurance. Then the upheaval gets more upheavally, and your beginner's practice has to ramp up now. Time for the bigger deals. A story that you might not know is, did I mention that Tulia was Navajo? Her mother, who blessed the marriage, raised her to be dine, but the marriage to you and everything else turned his back on the religion. Elders were consulted, protection rituals thrown over the house, unnecessary and superstitious you thought, but as your acceptance into the family and religious practices grew stronger, you saw the beauty in those traditions, too. The world ends, and like many other things, there's a resurgence in these practices. Everything's spiraling out of control now. There's hostility towards immigrants, a word that sounds so weird now whenever you hear it, to mixed race people, to which Jesse started self-identifying and writing letters to representatives, technology, like the abandoned subway line that sat idle for all these years. The world ends, but it just means different. More dangerous and stabby. You and Jesse have you're out of time. The apocalypse has converged upon you. Not now, come back later. You roll over and continue sleeping. I can't, there isn't much time. The alarm beeps beside you. Time to get up for work. Still dark outside, but you'd rather sleep in and set your alarm late than wake up early, grab the paper, and stumble groggily with the snooze button like most people do. You live a different kind of lifestyle, one where the snooze button doesn't even exist, so your existence is as alien as an extraterrestrial. You take an alien commercial break. You the readers schedule your days to adapt to a tempo, mode, and speed set by advertisements, a heartbeat set by the lowest common denominator. Would it kill you populations to pick up your game? Does advertising keep us alive? No. The streets are eerily empty. It's too cold to be hanging out of windows or standing